Meghan Markle believed she could finally silence the unrelenting whispers, the persistent speculation questioning whether her children were truly born from her and whether they might somehow claim a place among the ranks of Windsor. Questions surrounding the succession of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet had never stopped. And then there was the infamous video showing Meghan in a hospital gown, striking a pose with a prominent belly, a clip that sent shockwaves through tabloids, social media, and every gossip column worldwide. But that pose, far from natural. For years, the public had only been presented with one polished version of events, a royal love story, 2 pregnancies, and the births of children packaged as icons of a modern monarchy. Everything seemed controlled, pristine, complete. Yet behind that meticulously maintained image, reality was far murkier, more complicated, and far less graceful than the public was allowed to see. A woman identified only as DL claimed she had been kept hidden, silenced, and erased, pushed into the shadows of London. On December 15th, 2025, at 10 a.m. GMT, the British royal family finally broke their silence, following DL's explosive allegations that had shaken both the monarchy and international media alike. Front and centre was Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, poised, articulate, and carrying the full weight of the crown with unwavering authority. Sophie faced reporters and representatives from over 24 international media outlets, delivering what is already being hailed as one of the sharpest and most unflinching royal statements in modern history. She sliced through the fog of rumour with 7 words that hit like a blade. This matter does not involve the crown. The controversy had been simmering for weeks. DL, a mysterious former medical surrogate, claimed she had been paid to carry not just one, but both of Meghan Markle's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Her identity remains legally protected, but her claims suggest a tangled network of secret contracts, concealed pregnancies, and staged appearances, each allegation more explosive than the last. She further claimed to possess documents which, if verified, could raise unprecedented constitutional questions about the royal line of succession. With the media pressing harder and Meghan and Harry remaining silent, the monarchy seemed to hold its collective breath. But this morning, Sophie made it unequivocally clear the palace recognises the public curiosity, but these matters do not fall under the influence or responsibility of the royal household. Her tone was calm, deliberate, and uncompromising. Sophie emphasised that while Prince William and Princess Catherine remained focused on finalising the royal family's 2025 Christmas programming, including the highly anticipated Together at Christmas service, the monarchy was drawing a firm, unbreachable boundary elsewhere. Sophie had been handpicked by King Charles III to act as the public face during the storm, a move reflecting her discretion, loyalty, and reliability. Usually operating quietly under the media radar, today she emerged as a resolute spokeswoman for the institution, drawing a sharp red line. Referencing King Charles's quiet November 28th declaration regarding royal succession, circulated to legal and constitutional offices across the Commonwealth, Sophie reaffirmed that the line of inheritance had been reviewed and re-established. Meghan, Harry and their children, Archie and Lilibet, were not included. While headlines fixated on DL's sensational claims and their potential implications for royal bloodlines, Sophie's approach was different, institutional, legal, and devastatingly clear. We do not entertain rumour. We respond only to what has been verified, she stated. When allegations intersect with constitutional integrity, a line must be drawn, and Sophie drew it with precision. She clarified that while Harry and Meghan acted as legal guardians and parents during their marriage, royal legitimacy extends beyond parental recognition. Archie and Lilibet bear the Windsor name, and Sophie acknowledged they are cared for within Harry's private family unit. But that recognition does not translate to entitlement within the public monarchy. It was a subtle, sophisticated distinction, yet a crushing one for anyone hoping for royal affirmation. Sophie further broke precedent by addressing the now infamous pregnancy video Meghan released just days before DL went public. The footage, showing Meghan dancing and smiling while heavily pregnant, was widely interpreted as a rebuttal to rumours. According to Sophie, it achieved the opposite effect. I watched the footage, as did many mothers. I must speak plainly. It does not reflect the physical truth of late-stage pregnancy, Sophie said, drawing on her own experiences carrying children at ages 38 and 42. She described late pregnancy as medically delicate, emotionally intense, and physically draining. Walking was hard. Balance was fragile. There is nothing graceful, only reverence, caution, and endurance. What I saw in that video was theatrical, not maternal, she stated. Sophie carefully avoided accusing Meghan of deception, yet her words left no doubt. The performance was unconvincing and deeply disrespectful to women who endured real pregnancies in silence and struggle. When asked whether the palace would investigate DL's claimed documents, contracts, ultrasounds, DNA tests, and letters allegedly from Prince Harry, Sophie's response was swift and surgical. That is for the courts, not the crown. With that, the monarchy shifted responsibility to legal systems while simultaneously shutting the door on any future recognition, rights, entitlements, or titles outside the strict standards established by King Charles. As calmly as she had arrived, Sophie nodded, stepped back from the lectern, and exited through the side door. No drama, no questions left lingering, no room for doubt. Yet behind her composed exterior, a very different storm raged within the royal residences. While Clarence House managed the public message, Windsor Castle, Sandringham and Highgrove went into tense, quiet lockdown. For all the press speculation about Meghan, DL, and alleged surrogacy contracts, the true impact was personal, internal, and seismic. Sources close to the court confirmed King Charles III had been informed of DL's intended legal move nearly a month before the public reveal. It wasn't the claim itself that shook him. Claims come and go. But the timing, the documents, and the potential constitutional aftershocks created intense concern. Within 48 hours of DL retaining legal counsel, Charles convened a closed-door emergency session at Windsor Castle with Princess Anne, Prince William, and Duchess Sophie in attendance. "This is not a media dispute," Charles reportedly said. "This is a matter of bloodline and national continuity." By the end of that weekend, Charles authorised what has since been dubbed the Red Clarification, an internal memorandum clarifying that any and all inheritance rights tied to the Crown's estates, patronages, or ceremonial legacy must be linked to verified birth lineage in full alignment with royal documentation standards. The impact was immediate and devastating. Archie, Lilibet, Meghan, even Harry were all omitted, as usual. Princess Anne said nothing to the press, but she didn't need to. Her stance was unmistakable behind palace doors. "The line of succession," she reportedly told the king, "isn't about feelings, it's about facts. And when facts are in question, the institution comes first, not the fringe." Anne, known for her no-nonsense approach, had long been sceptical of the Sussexes' public theatrics, but DL's testimony and the looming threat of legal action struck a deeper nerve. "If someone was paid to carry royal children in secret," she allegedly remarked, "it is not a royal birth. It's a contract, and the Crown doesn't recognise contracts. It recognises blood." For Prince William, the issue was symbolic, personal, and deeply visceral. Palace insiders report he reacted with contained fury upon learning of DL's emerging claims, already straining under his brother's departures and repeated media assaults. To William, DL's emergence felt like a final betrayal, not necessarily by Harry, but by the narrative itself. Meghan was allowed to script royal motherhood, he reportedly told a senior aide. "We upheld silence out of respect, but that silence was weaponized against us more than anyone else." William pushed for immediate, visible action, urging Charles to codify succession standards in writing, not merely follow tradition. It was William who championed Sophie as spokesperson. It was William who approved the removal of any symbolic references to Archie and Lilibet from the upcoming Christmas broadcast. Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, offered no public statement, but her absence spoke volumes. She maintained her public duties, visiting children's hospitals, filming holiday specials, rehearsing for the Together at Christmas Cathedral event, but remained deliberately detached from all Sussex-related inquiries. Privately, she confided to a close friend, "You cannot speak of motherhood as performance for women who've endured childbirth. It's pain, it's fear, it's sacrifice. This isn't just a controversy, it's an insult. Her silence, observers say, was not indifference, but a deliberate preservation of dignity, both hers and that of the crown she is poised to inherit. Within 72 hours of DL's claims hitting the media, internal royal documents were quietly updated, sources confirm. Legal correspondence with the Privy Council office reinforced the current order of succession. A background inquiry was launched into the absence of hospital verification records from Meghan's deliveries. The Home Office was looped in to prepare for potential passport or citizenship challenges. Palace advisors reportedly circulated the phrase, "We are preparing for erosion." This isn't just about whether Meghan gave birth, it's about whether the monarchy can allow even the perception that it didn't know. The Sussex estate in Montecito appeared calm from the outside. Pristine landscaping, gated security, an orderly facade. But inside, tensions ran high. When DL went public with her claims of carrying both of Meghan Markle's children via surrogacy, the shockwave hit not just Buckingham Palace, it hit the Sussex household itself. Behind the glossy image, Harry and Meghan had meticulously curated every detail for years. Perhaps most revealing was what they didn't do. In the first 48 hours after DL's statement, there was no response. No statement from the Sussex legal team, not on their official website, not through the Archewell Foundation, not even via friends or anonymous sources in tabloids. A tactic Meghan had frequently used in the past. Even a single line was quietly removed from the Archewell About page. They are the proud parents of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet of Sussex. Titles disappeared, phrasing shifted, but still, no press release, no rebuttal. According to insiders in Meghan's PR circle, the couple was blindsided by the detail and legal precision of DL's claims. They had expected gossip, TikTok speculation, maybe a minor tabloid flurry, but not a prepared witness, armed with documents, lawyers, and a willingness to testify under oath. One insider said it was especially jarring to face a woman presenting DNA, timelines, and apparent correspondence with Harry himself. Among DL's most damaging claims was the allegation that, after the birth of the second child, Harry personally wrote her a handwritten note thanking her for discretion and for safely delivering our family into the world. While the note remains unverified, DL's legal team insists it exists. Paired with additional documentation of coordination between Meghan's inner circle and the alleged surrogacy agency, the claim sparked internal panic. Sources say it's damaging because, if true, it indicates Harry was aware that Meghan never physically gave birth. The carefully curated public narrative, hospital visits, staged photos, baby bump documentaries, then appears misleading at best, and at worst, a deliberate deception. Within 72 hours of DL's story breaking, activity surged across the Sussex media empire. At least 2 pre-recorded podcast episodes were scrapped. A planned Netflix special, Roots and Roses, originally highlighting Meghan's journey through motherhood, was pulled from the February 2026 slate. Contracts with 2 US parenting magazines were quietly paused. Stylists and PR teams were ordered to suspend all maternity-related posts on Instagram and Pinterest. Behind closed doors, a crisis team was activated. Montecito staff leaks suggest the couple's private response was volatile. Meghan allegedly refused to acknowledge DL's claims directly, insisting the woman was a bitter plant aimed at sabotaging her Christmas. Harry, however, appeared visibly shaken. "They'll go after the kids next," he was overheard telling a friend. What began as a scandal over pregnancy optics has now escalated into a constitutional identity crisis. King Charles's updated succession declaration, now public, excludes Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet. Duchess Sophie's statement reinforces that omission. The implications are no longer merely personal, they are structural. Are the children legally in the line of succession? Are they legally Windsors? Can they inherit royal estates, ceremonial titles, or protections? Even in the US, where titles hold no legal weight, public discussion has turned sharply. Commentators across the Atlantic now call the Sussex children civilians by birth, not royals by right. The most explosive notion gaining traction. The British monarchy may have unknowingly allowed 2 children born via private contract to be presented as blood heirs to the throne. Though no official statement has been issued, Meghan has made a few carefully calculated appearances. Days after Sophie's remarks, she was photographed leaving a Santa Barbara yoga studio with her longtime friend and attorney, Daphne Keller. Dressed in all white, wearing gold mama earrings and carrying a copy of Women Who Run with the Wolves, she appeared unbothered, sending a deliberate message: she is the mother. Deal with it. Sources suggest the move was intentional. One former publicist said the earrings, the book, and the setting were all staged signals of maternal identity. Others close to her were less optimistic, noting she waited too long to respond. A former Archewell advisor remarked she underestimated DL, mistaking the story for a minor tabloid blip. Meanwhile, Harry has gone silent. His last public statement, addressing military veterans and mental health, was issued 2 weeks before DL's claims surfaced. Since then, he has missed all public engagements, including the Invictus Games winter fundraiser. Some interpret his silence as strategy, others self-preservation. Either way, it is telling. A man who once vowed to always protect my family at all costs now refuses to challenge DL's story or defend the legitimacy of his children. What began as whispers on forums has solidified into a matter of potential constitutional gravity, with the woman known as DL stepping forward not just with explosive allegations, but armed with a fully structured and meticulously planned legal strategy. The next phase of this scandal no longer belongs to tabloids, gossip columns, or even PR specialists. This chapter now belongs to lawyers, courts, and official institutions. And with that shift, the stakes have become both real and measurable, because what DL claims to hold, or indeed may actually hold, could ignite the most serious challenge to royal legitimacy in modern times, rivaling even the upheaval of the abdication crisis of 1936. According to filings quietly submitted to a legal chamber in Switzerland, where DL's legal team has temporarily based operations to maximize privacy and security, the documents she possesses are explosive. They include not 1, but 2 contracts signed between DL and an intermediary agency with direct ties to Meghan Markle's US medical and legal team. Each contract is sealed with a strict non-disclosure agreement outlining payment terms, identity suppression, and explicit erasure of DL's role following the supposed births. Adding weight to the claims are medical records from a private prenatal clinic in Colorado Springs, detailing weekly fetal health checkups under DL's name between 2018 and 2021. Embedded in these files are ultrasound images with precise timestamps and biometric data. Even more striking is a handwritten letter from Prince Harry, dated just days after Lilibet's birth, expressing thanks for DL's discretion and care in what he described as bringing the family safely into the world. Perhaps the most damning evidence, and the part most likely to send shockwaves through both the monarchy and legal circles, is DL's public consent to a DNA test. Not privately arranged, not mediated, but fully court-supervised through an independent third-party channel. "I have nothing to hide," DL said in a televised interview on Geneva's RTS channel. "The truth was never mine to keep. It was taken from me. I am simply putting it back on the table." Her words were deliberate, defiant, and fully calculated to force the institution to confront uncomfortable questions. The legal complexities are staggering. The UK has no formal laws to address surrogacy fraud within the context of royal succession. Surrogacy itself is legal in several US states, each with its own definitions of parental rights, medical documentation, and procedural oversight. The palace, via Duchess Sophie, has repeatedly stated this is a matter beyond the scope of the Crown, framing it as private conduct. Yet constitutional scholars argue otherwise. Professor Eliza Garnett of Oxford's Department of Royal Law and History cautioned that the monarchy cannot simply claim neutrality when the legitimacy of its heirs is questioned. "If DNA disproves bloodline," she said, "titles, protections, and succession rights tied to those individuals must by law be re-evaluated." This is not idle gossip. This is dynastic law in its rawest and most consequential form. In short, if DL is telling the truth, and if the Sussex children are proven not to be Meghan's biological offspring, or even worse, not genetically linked to either Harry or Meghan, the entire legal foundation for their styling as prince and princess evaporates. Despite the legal threat, sources confirm the palace is not defenseless. A royal firewall strategy has reportedly been activated, a multi-layered containment protocol designed to reinforce constitutional distance and protect the crown. All royal properties, funds, and privileges tied to the crown estate have been legally shielded from anyone not on the verified line of succession. Internal files, hospital archives, staff logs, and security footage have been digitally secured, locked behind multi-tiered safeguards. From the time of Archie and Lilibet's supposed births, records are now protected under Royal Archives protocols. Employees, past and present, have been reminded of lifetime NDAS and the severe legal consequences for violations. This firewall is not about truth or denial. It is about safeguarding the Windsor line and the fragile trust between the monarchy and its people. At the centre of DL's gambit is her willingness to undergo publicly administered DNA testing, not tabloids, not private labs, fully court-supervised with unbroken chain of custody integrity. She does not demand Harry or Meghan's compliance, yet the very offer exerts extraordinary pressure. Should they refuse DNA verification for Archie and Lily, speculation will intensify. Should they agree and results show inconsistencies in maternity or parentage, the fallout could be catastrophic. The children could be formally removed from the line of succession. Titles may be revoked or retroactively nullified. International legal challenges could emerge in countries where the monarchy holds assets or ceremonial standing. Harry and Meghan's credibility as public figures, advocates, and philanthropists could collapse entirely. And if Harry's alleged thank you letter to DL is authenticated, it may trigger a perjury investigation, given prior interviews and statements where the couple insisted absolute privacy for their biological children. DL's legal team has announced plans to submit a formal filing to the High Court in London within 10 days, requesting limited testimony, legal protections, and supervision of DNA verification through the Ministry of Justice. They will also petition the Home Office to verify whether Lily and Archie's British nationality claims are grounded in legitimate birthright or misrepresentation. Meanwhile, King Charles's pre-recorded Christmas speech, scheduled for December 25th, is reportedly set to deliver a subtle but firm message on truth, legacy, and the sacred duty attached to names. The monarchy appears poised to weather the legal storm, but not the moral ambiguity. This is no longer simply about Meghan Markle's credibility, nor even Harry's judgment. It is about whether a centuries-old institution allowed an unvetted, undocumented birth narrative to slip past the gates of legacy under the guise of modern privacy. The stakes are nothing less than constitutional, dynastic, and profoundly historical. The question now is not whether DL's story is inconvenient. The real question is, what happens if it is true? When Duchess Sophie stepped behind the royal lectern earlier this week, she was not only speaking as the official voice of the monarchy, she was speaking as a mother, a woman intimately familiar with the physical and emotional toll of childbirth. In those few quiet, unsparing minutes, her words delivered more than constitutional clarity. They delivered the moral authority the monarchy had struggled to project since the scandal erupted. What I saw in that video was not familiar, not maternal. It was theatrical, Sophie said, referencing the now infamous footage of Meghan Markle dancing in a hospital gown, allegedly moments before labour. I know what pregnancy in the 9th month feels like. It does not look like that. This is not performance. This is life. This is reverence. This is sacrifice. Her words struck hard, not out of cruelty, but because they were rooted in lived experience. Few in the royal family have endured the silent, unseen struggle of motherhood as Sophie has. Her first pregnancy, in 2001, ended in a traumatic emergency C-section at 36 weeks. Baby Louise was born prematurely, and Sophie nearly died from internal bleeding. Her second pregnancy with son James in 2007 was high risk, requiring round-the-clock monitoring and strict third trimester restrictions. Through it all, she remained in the shadows. There were no maternity photo shoots, no curated documentaries, no viral hospital videos, just the quiet, painful journey of a woman doing everything possible to bring life safely into the world. When Sophie spoke this week of how fragile balance was and how difficult walking became in the 9th month, it was not conjecture. It was memory etched in blood, resilience, and a profound reverence for motherhood itself. Sophie's relationship with Meghan had once been cautiously warm. When Meghan first entered the royal family, Sophie reportedly advised her to move slowly, offering quiet mentorship rooted in humility, patience, and discretion. But that fragile bond deteriorated over time, first through private disagreements over press management, and later, more fundamentally, over values. Sophie believed in duty, discretion, and earned trust. Meghan pursued a very different path, one built on visibility, performance, and carefully curated victimhood. The DL scandal, combined with Meghan's tone-deaf attempts to prove motherhood through theatrical and highly staged footage, became the breaking point. No woman who has carried a child to term with genuine care, risk, and consequence behaves this way. Sophie told aides privately, after viewing Meghan's video, that if Meghan did carry those children, then she had disrespected the profound experience of motherhood. If she didn't, then she had disrespected something far deeper, something almost sacred. It was the harshest sentiment Sophie had ever voiced within palace walls, and in the eyes of many observers, it was long overdue. Palace insiders confirmed that King Charles personally asked Sophie to deliver the institution's formal response to DL's claims, not only because of her eloquence, but because of her unwavering integrity. "She's lived the reality of womanhood and royalty," said one senior aide, speaking quietly and painfully, without performance. "When she speaks, people listen," and people did. Sophie's address triggered an immediate wave of empathy and resonance from women around the world, mothers, nurses, doulas, and healthcare professionals, many of whom flooded social media with messages praising her honesty and courage. "Finally, a royal woman who speaks for the rest of us," one commenter wrote. "We've had babies, we've lived it, and yes, we know when something doesn't look right." Unlike other royals, Sophie's words did not come cloaked in strategy or image management. They came from lived experience, grounded in a desire to protect something far larger than titles or public opinion, the meaning of motherhood itself. In stepping forward, Sophie quietly repositioned herself as the moral compass of Windsor, especially during a season when Prince William and Catherine remain focused on public engagements, and King Charles handles sensitive legal briefings and succession restructuring behind closed doors. Her words did not accuse, but they clarified. Her tone was not shameful, but it drew a firm line. Her stance was not cruel, but it was unwaveringly precise. Motherhood is not a costume, nor a commodity to be traded, performed, or manipulated to protect royal image. With Duchess Sophie's decisive address still echoing across press rooms throughout the Commonwealth, the British royal family has now moved from words to action behind the heavy oak doors of Windsor's inner chambers. King Charles III, supported by Princess Anne, Prince William, and constitutional advisors, has completed the final legal and symbolic acts in response to the DL Meghan scandal. It is now official. Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor will no longer be referred to with royal titles by the Crown. This is not just a PR adjustment, it is a recalibration of royal legacy. A line has been drawn in marble, not sand. On the morning of December 19th, a document titled Memorandum on Succession Integrity and Institutional Titles was quietly deposited at the Privy Council office, stamped with the personal seal of King Charles. The memorandum states that for the purposes of succession recognition, estate eligibility, and ceremonial participation, only individuals whose birth records are accompanied by verified institutional documentation shall be regarded as heirs within the royal legacy of Windsor. It explicitly excludes any unverified claims. It continues, individuals born outside these parameters, or whose origins are subject to formal legal dispute, shall not bear royal titles in the capacity of public recognition, nor be included in any future succession planning. The document does not name Harry, Meghan, Archie, or Lilibet directly. It does not need to. That same afternoon, subtle but undeniable changes appeared across official channels. The royal family section on the Royal UK website was updated. The Sussex children's names, once listed with titles, now appear only under extended family, without honorifics. Internal orders of precedence, issued annually for internal use, have been revised. Archie and Lily's placements have been removed. Public programmes for upcoming royal events, including King Charles's 2025 Christmas address, make no reference to the Sussex branch, not even indirectly. The erasure is not cruel. It is administrative, institutional, and surgical. It is not a punishment. It is a restoration of order. The monarchy's ultimate decision, while legally sound, is also philosophical. As one palace insider explained, the crown can absorb scandal. It can survive exit, rebellion, and even public discontent, but it cannot survive confusion over bloodline. That is the foundation of everything. The scandal surrounding DL didn't merely question whether Meghan gave birth. It questioned whether the institution itself had allowed personal branding to overshadow biological legacy, and that is the fault line. By removing Archie and Lilibet from royal reference, the monarchy is drawing a firm boundary. Brand is not blood. Performance is not pedigree. Appearances are not ancestry. Though Prince Harry has not been formally stripped of his title, sources confirm he will not be invited to the 2025 royal Christmas services at Sandringham. No letter, no olive branch, not this time. His silence regarding DL's claims, his complicity, whether active or passive, in a narrative that has now reached the courts, and his failure to protect the dignity of royal motherhood, have placed him outside the circle of operational trust. King Charles's private remark reportedly made to Anne during a recent walk at Highgrove said it all. He once left the firm, now he's left the family. This year, Windsor is preparing for a very different kind of royal Christmas. Prince George will make his first solo reading during the Together at Christmas concert at Westminster Abbey. Princess Charlotte will sit beside the Queen Consort, Camilla, for the formal lighting of the Christmas tree at Clarence House. Catherine and William will lead public engagements from December 21st to 24th, including a visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital. Princess Anne will deliver the Christmas message to the Royal Regiment of Artillery in place of the King. On Christmas Day, Charles will deliver his most personal address yet, pre-recorded under candlelight in the Crimson Drawing Room of Windsor Castle. Palace aides confirm the speech includes this line: "The crown endures, not because it is inherited, but because it is upheld with truth, reverence, and courage." The scandal may continue in courts. DL may produce more documents. Meghan may give an interview. Harry may retreat, retaliate, or attempt narrative control. But for the monarchy, the matter is closed. Sophie drew the line with grace. Charles signed it with finality. The British royal family has made its position unmistakably clear. Children may be born in love, but heirs must be born in truth. And in this family, truth still has a name: Windsor. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep up with the latest royal developments.